What is good? Welcome, brother. How's it going? Happy Friday. Happy Friday, Friday. Everybody get down on a Friday. Happy Friday, Friday. We need merch. We need merch that says your quantum. Oh, your. We need merch. You know, it's merch season. Shoot. Merch. We need merch. Quantum. Y'all, I have been very much so kaleidoscoping into the realm of quantum, and I will be doing a quantum series of some sort after Charlie Kirk. We're going to get into how we are quantum beings. Okay? I am that I am. That's a funny name to join us. Welcome. Y'all, it's getting crazy. It's Friday night and we're here. We're here doing things large and in charge for quantum leaping, quantum soul, quantum life. It's about to get crazy. They ain't ready for us. They ain't ready. Oh man. What's going on with you guys? Give me something in the chat. Give me some personal that you feel like sharing. What's going on? How was your week? It's Friday. I started this live at 8:33, which is giving divine time. Yeah, give me something. What's going on in your lives? What it do, quantum booze? Yes, that is fantastic. What type of dog? I love dogs. Preferably of the miniature variety. That's awesome. Glad to hear it, Ethan. That sounds so nice. Oh my gosh, you're kidding. I bet that's stunning. It probably has multicolored eyes. What'd you have for dinner, Ethan? I got Forgotten. I like that. I got Forgotten. Oh, snap, prime rib. That sounds so nice. Oh, wow. That's really stunning. Forgotten seems like some sort of missing piece to light particle photons or something, like the Forgoton particle. I don't know. That's what it's giving. Yeah, I digress, guys. I'm just making things up because my mind likes to wander. I'm still sick, y'all. Like, with the front door. Can you believe it? It's moving out of my throat area and into my... I don't have tonsils. I had those removed. What are these thingies called? Thank you. They are called... What are these thingies, y'all? Oh my gosh, why am I blanking? Nice. What are you allergic to? Nathaniel. I was at the store the other day and the grocer was coughing, and I thought, Nathaniel. I thought she was sick. I was like, they got you sick at work, huh? She's like, no, I have what's it called? Allergies. And I was like, oh, are you allergic to people? Because she had a large line. Prime rib sounds like so nice. Wagyu, when they like massage the Japanese cows before they get slaughtered. Yeah, it's a harsh, cruel life, y'all. Okay, so thank you all for being here. Essentially, it's Friday. We're getting crazy. And how are we getting crazy? We're turning up on the 9th and the 10th universal laws, straight out of the good old Bible. That is what we're covering today. And it's going to be an epic journey. So, thank you all for being here. Yesterday we left off on the Toddle, our boy Toddle, and his viewpoint from an ethical perspective. So we're going to jump back into that. I actually wanted to read you something too from one of his books as well. Because, you know, we we're getting crazy. It's Friday. We learning, we growing. We're getting pretty serious on this quantum ascension for our souls individually and collectively. Like, what is good? What is good? Yeah, essentially, as we all know, the 9th law is thou shalt not cap and thou shalt not subtweet, aka false witness, lying. What's on your face? What's on your face? You know, we're all technically one in the all, so technically, whenever you make fun of someone else, you're making fun of yourself. I have an old shell but new soul. You belong. Peanut butter. Oh, snap. Okay. Yo, we're getting crazy in the chat, so we're going to tie some of this, we're going to anchor some of this energy on a Friday night right into the good old peanut butter. Peanut butter is tasty. Oh, snap, bud. What? Okay. Yeah, so eventually when I post this onto YouTube, people are going to be so confused because they can't see the chat. Y'all, you'll just have to fill in the blanks. If you're going to watch this from YouTube, you're going to fill in the blanks on what people are popping into the chat. Utilize your third eye chakra and just meditate on the conversations. So, thou shalt not cap, thou shalt not subtweet is a fancier way of saying thou shalt not lie. With our boy Toddle, which if you guys don't have a copy, this is the copy I have, the Pocket Aristotle. I love me the Pocket Aristotle. It's got excerpts from multiple of his books. One of them is physics, the other politics, one of them's metaphysics, the other ethics, psychology, and poetics. Talk about a multifaceted quantum being. This is a multifaceted absolute quantum being. You know who else is on that list? There are many people. One of the other ones that I'm thinking of course we got Elon, but outside of that, I would say Leonardo da Vinci. Da Vinci was a quantum kind of guy too. He literally had like his hand in all the different sectors and division of all things intelligence. I'm like, these gentlemen right here were the AI of their time. You hear me? You feel me? The AI of their time. I do need more Botox. Thank you for reminding me. Yes. Yeah. And if you don't mind, share my content. That way I can actually afford Botox, guys. What? I'm not sure what y'all are saying, but let's tie down some of this energy and For my long term, y'all know the drill. If there's anyone we need to X-nay out the chat, as their energy is 6 feet under, then let me know. Now, so, our boy Aristotle, when it came to the 9th law, from his ethics portion, he would say that truthfulness is a key virtue. And that line actually destroys the foundation of the what? The polis. It's like our Aristotle word, polis, the community, the city. 6 feet. Show you something 6 feet under, I'll show you 6 feet. You guys, relax. It's just a metaphor for your energy is so low, it's literally a part of the earth and not anchored in anything spiritual at all. So, 6 feet, it might be a bad metaphor, but I do love life and death. I talk about life and death religiously. So, yeah, we might need to kick out some of these guys because y'all are getting lusty, dusty, crusty, musty, fusty, wusty, and we're about to hushy yourself right out of this chat. So relax. I'm kidding. Yeah, chat be trippin' facts. Ethan is someone who shows up every single day, and not only in the classroom, but outside the classroom as well. Same thing with Caden. So, yeah, let's relax in the chat. Y'all are getting crazy. I might need to kick some people out. But, anywho, I don't want to waste any more time, so let's go ahead and do that. Line essentially destroys the polis, the opolis, the tropolis, okay? Bearing false witness is distortion to justice. I do like paper planes, I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to bear false witness, but I do like paper planes. Justice for Aristotle is essentially giving each person their due. As we know, all the different virtues from Aristotle, he essentially likes to discuss things from the idea of the mean or the golden mean, where there are extremes on either side of each mean. Yeah, John, let's relax because I'm about 2 seconds away, milliseconds away from popping you out the chat. Y'all be nice in the chat. Okay? So, the balance between virtues, you want to be in the middle of a virtue, not on either side, where you have a deficiency or on one end, right? Or you have an over-exaggeration on the other end. So, truth would be a balance on a scale between boastfulness, which is exaggeration, and false modesty, which means you're essentially not giving the full truth, right? Not saying things for how they actually are. Okay? Yeah. We're getting focused in here. It's already 8:48, which is a great timing. Now, I'm not sure what you're saying, John. Let's just sit down and let's be quiet. Okay? Thank you. So, when Aristotle discusses, let's just go back, track back a little bit. You're looking for a paycheck? I'm not. John, we don't know what you're saying, bud. We're talking about Aristotle. So, why don't you just relax? The next time I see your name pop up, you're out of the chat. So I suggest you don't write anything. So, essentially, guys, as we recall, any virtue that Aristotle talks about has two extremes, excess and deficiency. Okay? So, when connecting these two into balance between the extremes, he's referring to truth in a logical sense. Less of a logical sense, but more in a moral quantity of human character. How one is representing themselves to others, vice versa. So, when we have boastfulness in truth-telling, boastfulness is the extreme of the pendulum. Now, that side, of course, is exaggerating qualities and achievements and exaggerating importance as well. Alright, John, so you don't know how to listen to rules and regulations, so we're rules and regulating you right out of this chat, because I said don't write anything, and you have. So bye. Thank you for not listening, so I can hush you up. I appreciate that. Alright, guys, so for anyone else who has ungrounded energy, just know we delete people. And Ryan is about to go right now. Mr. Francis 17, you're Mr. Francis bye-bye never seen because we're blocking you. Okay? See ya. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. That's right. Double sword. Don't mess. Don't mess. One sword is in divine and one sword is in your spine. I'm just kidding. Alright, Dr. Seuss is getting loose out here. Anyways, I digress. I'm just being silly. So guys, when it comes to being truthful on the scale of our boy Toddle, we have our extremes. One of the extremes is being boastful. The other extreme is not saying enough and being way too humble. A humble man to the extreme, right? So you want to be somewhere in between, which is going to be right on nailing the truth right there, because it's right in the middle of exaggerating the truth, or being a little bit too humble pie. Okay? So, essentially, when you're on the side of deficiency with truth, in the humble pie area, for example, if you're talking about maybe accomplishments or this or that, when you're on the deficiency side, you're actually concealing information. And, of course, on the boastful side, you're exaggerating information. So, either way, both extremes are reflecting a false reality, or aka an illusion, which we don't want. So, the truthfulness as a balance reflects living well and requires moderation to be in alignment. Because as we recall from the very beginning of our 10 Commandments portion, our boy Toddle was the one who gave us the formula for happiness, which is essentially not something that's just given, it's something that's a choice. And the choice is between, when you have both of these things, you have ethics and you also have stability. Okay? Welcome, you guys. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. 10 of us, let's go. Let's go. So, being truthful then fosters genuine relationships as it avoids distortion of the ego. It's not about what you say, but as we all know, it's how you embody authenticity in your character. And what I wanted to read to you guys was... What's good, Connor? Welcome, bud. We're glad you're here. We out here on our Toddle, on our 9th commandment of thou shalt not spread subtweets and thou shalt not spread cap. So, why did I not bookmark this, Here it is. There she blows. But I thought it was quite interesting, y'all. Oh, well. I spoke too soon. Hold the phone, guys. Here we go. Here it is. So I really liked this analogy that he brought forth with balance, because I think you guys will resonate with this as well. Respect, let's go. RESPECT. So, balance in all things, I've been saying that a lot. And our boy Toddle states, when it comes to balance or holding the mean, why is that important? Well, we can have an analogy within the space of art. Yes, exactly. This might be the closest I can get to being read a bedtime story. Yeah, you're gonna wake up real smart if you start sleeping on what I say. You're gonna wake up essentially spiritually aligned and super smart. That's my prayer for everyone. To be working from a place of wisdom when their feet hits the floor in the morning. So, he brings it into the aspect of art when we see a really beautiful art piece of any medium, doesn't matter, okay? To include, vocal, it could be any type of art piece, guys, okay? So, that we often say of good works of art, that it is not possible either to take away or to add anything, implying that excess and defect destroy the goodness of works of art, while the mean preserves it. So essentially, he's saying the Mona Lisa, right? I like to call her the Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa. If you were to take away a paint stroke, or you were to add a paint stroke, then you're to ruin the painting, right? So when we think about that, that's where the mean lies. The golden mean is right in between, where if you have any less or any more, you're imbalanced. Connor, my guy, he knows the truth. I'm out here preaching to the preachers, y'all. We got the preachers in the chat. That's what I like to see. Y'all are great. So I just thought that was a really beautiful analogy, because it paints a picture, if you will, for when something is too much or not enough. Yes, exactly. So I wanted to touch base a little bit as well on Aristotle's persuasion, which, if you guys haven't looked into that, brownie points if you can put it in the chat. There's 3 different pillars to our boy Toddle's persuasion, okay? They are logos, ethos, and pathos. So, essentially, what would be, out of those 3, the one that would connect the most to thou shalt not cap and thou shalt not subtweet? What's good, welcome, is logos, because logos is the persuasion tactic. Yeah, welcome. I just gave you a shout out. So, logos is the persuasion tactic that is actually rooted in facts. Okay, so ensuring that any arguments one has, or healthy debates, are grounded in facts, logical reasoning, and aim to avoid any sort of deceptive or lying claims that could mislead and mispersuade others, right? So that is what logos is, and it really does tie in extremely well to the 9th law. So the ethos and the pathos, ethos, as you guys should recall, or if you don't know, is essentially building trust through moral credentials. So if you're going to a doctor, maybe you need heart surgery, it'd probably be good if perhaps the doctor has done a ton of heart surgeries and you're not their first. Not saying that their medical studies have been bad, but it's probably just good not to be their first. It's probably healthier to be somewhere down the line, as an example. So ethos is essentially building credibility through what someone has studied or who they are as a person, whether it be what they know or what their morals are, essentially their track record, right? So that integrity helps them to be able to present their information because they're backed by actual experience and intelligence mixed into one. Now, Pathos. So the ethos is credibility. The logos is going to be facts. I mean, that's giving logic, it's giving reason, it's giving numbers. And then the pathos, one would understand, would be more linked to emotions and emotional intelligence. So these are to be used responsibly. Uncanny Valley. The thing is, I can laugh at myself too, guys, and that's actually really funny. Like, I appreciate a good roast, you know? Uncanny Valley. That's so funny. Oh my gosh, that's actually funny. Thank you for saying that. So, yeah. Now, in our day and age, as we've seen a lot, we see many media outlets all over different social media outlets, to include TikTok, right? Every social media outlet is guilty of leading from a place of pathos only when it comes to logic and reason or persuasion. So they lean into emotions. They're not given any type of credentials, like they don't have any credentials that they're sharing. So it's like, how do you know that what they're saying is true? And they also don't have any logos, which means they don't have any facts that back up their emotional sting that they're putting on social media, right? So it's a good this three fork prong, if you will, or even potentially you could call it 3 pillar of persuasion, is a good way to fact check. Is this person leading with logos, facts, and reason? Are they leading with ethos, credibility, and, applied, learned knowledge and experience? Or are they leading with their pathos, which is just emotion, trying to sting the emotions? Okay. Now, when someone has all 3, this is when Aristotle, our boy Tuttle, is saying that all 3 is the most concise way to be able to persuade someone of whatever you're trying to have them consider. So guys, this doesn't just work in business, right? This is going to work in all areas of life, to include when you are, any family members or anything, right? Friends, family, anything that you learn in one discipline can be applied to every single pillar of your own life, right? Not only to how you act in life, but also when you're receiving things as well. Are you receiving things from a sound place of a mixture of the logos, pathos, and what was the other one? Y'all know what I'm saying. Ethos. My bad. Or are you limited on one, and which one? And if so, does that even matter, right? Because as we know in this class, we like to question things from many different directions. To include the opposite is always a really safe starter. Really good safe starter point. And then the other thing I actually was thinking on, and I might have said this yesterday, but I love to think on when I'm trying to validate what is real and what is illusion, is essentially if it is an extreme that someone is saying, there's probably like maybe 0.001 or even maybe 1% of that extreme that's probably true. So you can always question things when someone gives you an extreme and you're like, okay, that sounds pretty extreme. Question it too, not only from is the opposite true, but if the extreme is true, to what extent? Is it true to 0.001% extent? Or is it true to 17% extent? Right? Because I think that too can help you have a little bit more neutrality when someone is coming at you with an extreme, because you're like, okay, you're coming from a place of extreme, but you're also maybe like 0.001% true, so I'll give you that. You got the 0.001. Which, I digress, but you guys know what I'm saying. So, yeah, something to definitely consider, especially since we have just so much fake this, fake that, fake everything, which we know from a neurological standpoint. Anytime that someone starts to go down that path of fake news, of lies, of deception, from a neurological standpoint, those things grow. From an energy standpoint, anything we focus on, me thinks I know, but I don't know. Connor, you do know. You just are remembering, So, what I was saying though, y'all, is what was I saying? Who knows? Play it back. What was I saying? Y'all, I'm still under the weather. It's these thingies, whatever these thingies are, we're like pulsating today. I forgot what these are called because I'm under the weather. What is it called? These like, they filter out the bad things in our body or help to filter things. Anyways, they're a little bit swollen. Not the tonsils, thank you for saying that. I've had those taken out. The tonsils are like up further right behind your throat. The ones on the side, we have these little tiny things all throughout our body. They're like pressure points, but I'm forgetting what it's called. It's really driving me mad. Anyways, those are a little bit swollen. Yeah. So, I'm not at my highest operating point for the last 3 days, which is okay. We rise anyways because we're quantum. Yeah, essentially, you guys can utilize those 3 different techniques coming from a place of logic and reason, with the logos, coming from a place of credibility with ethos, and coming from a place of whatever emotional standpoint with pathos. Emotions are to be used responsibly, guys, because emotions can help us make actual change, right? Look at all the times in your life where you had a big turning point of transformation. I would bet money it was linked to emotion as well, not just logic and reason. Because when we have emotional pain to a certain extent, that's when our physical actions change. Because as we know, all of the energy from the divine and everything, frequency, everything we can't see, spirituality, all the stuff we can't see, all the dimensions, quantum field, anchors down into the 3D last, just as I put on my story today, if anyone saw that on my story. I really liked that way that gentleman was describing how everything we can't see is what matters. The unseen is what matters. What's going on in the quantum field is what matters, because the 3D field is a manifestation of what already has happened in the 5D plus, right? So that's again why emotions they're a cheap way to persuade people if it's just through emotions and you're trying to manipulate, right? But they're a good way to actually create lasting change, because emotions are 4D that anchor into the 3D to create lasting change. I appreciate y'all being here. I can't believe we're at 4.1 likes, hearts in the chat. Like, stop it. We out here. Anywho. Oh my gosh, lymph nodes. My lymph nodes, y'all. Thank you, quantum field, for that download. Me lymph nodes is swollen. Anywho, so I'm glad that we figured that out, because that would have drove me mad. Now, let's go from the aspect of science. when it comes to the neuroscience that we're just kind of discussing with the 9th law of thou shalt not cap, thou shalt not subtweet. Okay? So, lying actually requires more brain power. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk? Because as we already know, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, when you lie, then you gotta remember those lies, which aren't the truth, and then you gotta keep lying on top of that and remember those lies. Like, it just becomes a straight on, like, mess, y'all. It's a mess. It's much easier to tell the truth than to go, to go at the middle mean, the golden mean, like our boy Toddle says. It's much easier. Your life is gonna be much more simple. Now, yeah, so essentially with neuroscience, they are showing us that lying actually requires greater brain activity in areas like the prefrontal cortex, okay, and the anterior cingulate cortex, which I am no neuroscientist. However, I hope I did pronounce that well. So, essentially, lying will activate 2 large cortexes within our brains. And these are the cortexes that are used for executive control while monitoring conflict. So, this mirrors a little bit from the Kabbalistic views, which essentially falsehood creates kill pots, and those are like impurities that obscure unity within our vessel, individually and collectively as well. Now, habitual lying also will reduce your amygdala activity and desensitize individuals to deception. So not only are you utilizing more brain power for the greater evil, you're also going to essentially open up a whole nother beast here. And that beast is what you focus on increases. So when you're focusing on the lies in the darkness increase. And when that actually happens, you start to engulf yourself slowly over time with lies and darkness, to where eventually, like a fish in water, you don't know you're surrounded by the water, right? So lying promotes desensitization to deception. So how does one foster being able to have more clarity on what is it called? My lymph nodes. Y'all, I'm so sorry. One will have more clarity on being decisive, discernment, okay? When one lies and then starts to just snowball effect of building up and living from a throne of lies, essentially, your discernment is going to go down. So the opposite is also true, which when one tells the truth from a place of logos, ethos, pathos, then one will actually increase one's discernment, because when you're focused on truth, you'll have more discernment of what is not true, right? So it becomes kind of a beautiful thing when you're on the logical, truthful side of reality. It grows into even more beautiful awareness as well. Now, appreciate y'all being here. We're at freaking 5.5 freaking hearts in the chat. It's crazy. It's so nice. Welcome. Now, so essentially, as I was saying, truth-telling actually fosters more mental wholeness, aligning with the law's call for transcendence. Truth-telling fosters more mental wholeness, y'all. Essentially, too, if lying actually takes up more brain power, which it does in neuroscience, it does take up more brain power, that's also going to leave one with less brain power to work on anchoring in the abundance or the creativity projects, whatever their sole purpose is, right? So when you come from a place of truth, it actually opens up more brain power to be able to focus on your purpose, because you're not utilizing, your brain power to be in deceptive, harsh illusion realities, right? Thank you so much. That's very kind. Pretty cool. Pretty cool how many good benefits there are to being an ethical person. Now, let's go into the science a little bit. There are, as we understand, the natural laws of the universe and nature. If scientists are lying about things, how disorderly would things be? And scientists actually check each other for the truth. When someone publishes something, they're checking each other for the truth at all times. So it becomes like a network to make sure that people are staying in check and not inflating things, which is pretty cool. So we're going to get into that a little bit before we get into the 10th law, which is, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's drip. Drippy. So, can you all see me okay? Because I can barely see myself. Drippy. So, can you all see me okay? Because I can barely see myself. I don't know. Who knows? No. Let me actually just grab a little taste of this green tea right here. A little intermission, y'all. There's something about green tea with honey that just slaps. I feel like I was looking kind of like Casper the Ghost, so I had to just... Right? Freaking so bomb. So bomb. A little bit of green tea, a little bit of honey, a little bit of, balance. A little bit of whole milk. Because we don't do 2%. Though, what made me real sad is thinking about the fact that probably... I haven't researched this, guys. This is me thinking out loud, okay? This is something that you shouldn't take as fact, right? This is just me thinking out loud. You shouldn't take this as fact because I do not have the ethos or credibility of milk manufacturing, okay? So, with that tone set, what I do want to say is I love milk. However, when I think about the fact that to be able to have milk, the cow has to be able or pregnant or giving birth, like have given birth. So I'm like, how does that work on such a large scale? It's one thing I don't want to think about. If anyone actually knows the truth, pop it in the chat. I mean, I could research it, but it does make me sad thinking about there's probably some weird things going on behind the scenes to get that glass of milk. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I ruined your milk. I still drink it anyways. You just gotta not think about it sometimes. And hope for the best. And pray for the cows. Yeah. Okay, I digress, y'all. I don't know if I went too far into outer space with that one because that was perhaps a little out of left field. But, yeah. Anywho. Oh, let me cancel this real quick. So, I digress, but let's get into some of the science backing as to why we would understand and assume that we gotta have science built on foundations of truth pillars. Like, straight up factual truth. Because how would one be able to explore topics and grow on theories within science if the science at the foundational level is inaccurate, right? We can only grow as high as we are truthful. So, yeah, essentially, this is reflected, these concepts of truth that we all know and love across many scientific disciplines. One that I was saying, which is research ethics. Yeah, I don't know too much about it, kidding or else. I'm not too sure. So when it comes to research ethics in the scientific community, we have prohibit data fabrication and falsification, which undermines communal knowledge, echoing in our 9th law, prohibition on lying, distorting the truth, fractures our divine scientific order. So, open science promotes transparency and a fact-check type of system, reflecting humility through peer correction. And being a human being, I'm sure there's some other human scientists that just love being able to take a red pen to something and be like, no, this is false, here's why. Because it's like the battle of the wits, so essentially if you're a scientist, when you post or, when you finally post that report, whatever it might be, you better check it up and down, back, front, and diagonal to make sure that thing's accurate as hell. That's what I would do if I were a scientist. I'd be like, ain't nobody gonna come at me with a red marker. Anyways, I digress. The other thing about science, though, as we know, is we are always developing more truths, too. So you gotta have some type of flexibility when it comes to anything you publish and post, right? Knowing that there's probably somewhere around the world another scientific being who has perhaps gone further than what you just stated. Yeah, it's interesting. So science also, too, when people are being more accurate with what they're presenting and truthful, right, they are spiritually repairing the tikkun as well, the soul corrections within our, Kabbalah standpoint and Jewish mysticism standpoint, for the greater benefit of not only themselves but all of humanity. And potentially, who even knows, we could even extend it out to universally. So even the multiverse, it ripples not just in our own reality, but through other dimensions and realities as well, y'all. Everything's interconnected. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. The amount of things that are interconnected that we don't even understand that are interconnected. It's crazy. So, appreciate y'all for being here. Now within forensic science, misleading testimonies in forensic science, yeah, we all know that can lead to some straight entropy, chaos, destruction, and ruin people's lives too, right? So when people overstate DNA or fingerprint matches to the wrong person or something, sheesh. Yeah, it leads to wrongful convictions, getting people put into jail or prison or confinement for God knows how long, right? The parallel to the law focusing on justice, because anytime we have any flawed forensics, it introduces impurities and harms the innocent, okay? It's really important across many fronts that we have truth as the foundation across many disciplines. Now, let's get a little bit into information theory and a little bit about data integrity within, the quantum computing field, or just in general, the technological field. Anytime in information theory we have error-correcting codes that actually ensure data integrity by fixing any distortions, which is pretty cool, and preventing false signals, which, as we already know, is mirroring the false witness, avoiding the false witness to maintain cosmic flow. And something I find really interesting, too, about this right here with information theory is you have a redundant bit. Essentially, the redundant bit doesn't necessarily add new information to the data, but it confirms the integrity of the data that is already there. So, which is pretty cool. And essentially, from the metaphysical standpoint with that, it's mirroring how the truth needs a witness. Interesting, because we have that in the justice system as well. Witnesses, right? To remain coherent across dimensions of expression, the truth needs a witness. In cybersecurity, maintaining this data fidelity parallels selfless service and upholds unity. So, pretty cool. Sorry if this is quite boring for y'all, but it's kind of more of the scientific different aspects of maintaining thou shalt not know cap, thou shalt no cap, and thou shalt no subtweet. Within mathematics, I don't know if y'all have heard about, okay, perfect. I don't know if y'all have heard about casting out nines. Essentially, it's to verify the accuracy of arithmetic operations like, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and it's checking the remainder of the numbers when divided by 9, ensuring the digital roots align. So, essentially, the method is relying on the fact that the digital root of the number is equivalent to the number's remainder divided by 9. Now, historically, you might not have heard of this because it's essentially more helpful before the use of calculators. So I had, calculators. We probably all have calculators or have had calculators growing up. But it's a method, casting out nines is essentially a method to double check if your arithmetic is right and helps with, errors, but it's not completely foolproof. So it's just a more consistent type of discipline if you don't have a calculator or AI to compute your quantum mechanics. Shoot, guys. Shoot. So, yeah, essentially it's reflecting an emphasis on undistorted testimony, revealing underlying harmony. And the cyclical nature of 9 evokes divine wholeness, mirroring the release towards higher truths. So, as a quick overview, we have neuroscience, where cognitive dissonance happens from deceit. And when you have dissonance, you are taking up more brain power. When you have truth, you're having harmony and you're taking up less brain power, where you can utilize the excess brain power towards building your dharma, your purpose. Now, the scientific parallel there is increased brain activity for doing what you want. And the other thing, too, that we recall with the neuroscience is desensitization to lies. We don't want to be desensitized to lies because then we have less discernment. And as we've heard in this class, a lot of people want more discernment. They want to be able to quickly know exactly how to act on XYZ because they have discernment in their decision-making process, and discernment is based on the foundation and pillars of truth, right? So, yeah. With research ethics, we were discussing prohibition of distortion and repair through transparency. Let me just put this puzzle piece into place for TikTok so they know that I am not a robot. Essentially, that when it comes to research ethics, our scientists are double checking each other, and it helps with banning fabrication and falsification because we have open science. They need to be responsible with what they're putting out. Forensic science, making sure we have accurate witnessing to prevent injustice. and reforms against misleading evidence in convictions. And then information theory, integrity in transmission, correcting of errors, right? So, and then we have mathematics with verification of truth through cyclical harmony, casting out nines for the error detection. So, those are the scientific parallels that we have for our ninth law in essence, where truth is a bridge to transcendence, something that we can build very, very high upon, and manifests in human efforts to seek, verify, and uphold reality, fostering our universal balance that we have, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. So that actually concludes our ninth law. Our ninth law. So we can get into thou shalt not thirst over thy neighbor's drip. How are you guys feeling? How are you feeling in the chat? Are we having fun yet? Are we having fun yet? We getting crazy out ya? Is that too bright? Y'all can see me a little bit? Yeah. Essentially, lying is no bueno. That's right, my boy. We out here. Gucci. My Gucci gurus. My galactic gurus. What is Gucci? So the 10th law. Not coveting anything of your neighbors. This is guarding against evil eye, evil heart, evil mind. Okay? For our chakras, this is going to be mostly linked to two chakras, the heart and the sacral. I do want to go over the sacral chakra and the heart chakra again. So sacral is going to be right above root, and it's our orange. It's like the reproductive organs. So, and lower back area as well. It's the I feel, right? You got the I speak, the I am oneness would be the crown chakra, the I see would be the third eye, mind's eye chakra. I feel, I do would be your sacral. Oh, excuse me, the I feel is sacral, but the I do would be your solar plexus, yellow chakra, right below your, like right in the abdomen area, right below your diaphragm. Okay. Now, this one is going to be I feel and pleasure and creativity as well. And then your heart chakra is I love. So a couple of the past life imprints, current and future, from the sacral chakra, just as a little reminder, would be any past life echoes would entail the vows of celibacy. It's giving monk, it's giving nun, okay? Or having any shame within the intimacy aspects of said life. Additionally, creative expression, right? Not being able to express yourself through whatever medium that you would have liked to express yourself through. So, some current life imprints of your sacral chakra would look like struggles with intimacy, or having any creative blocks in whatever you're trying to make. And also overindulgence in pleasures. As we know, overindulgence is for the weak. And you're quantum, you're not weak. So, finding the healthy healthy medium, or the mean, is the best way to overcome. Now, physically, we already know that your sacral chakra is located in the more reproductive areas. And if it's more balanced, you're going to have a lot more joy in life. You're going to have more healthy relationships with intimacy and creative flow. And also, of course, emotional expression. Now, imbalanced would be guilt, shame, repression, overindulgence, addiction. It's giving lower vibrational, lusty, crusty, dusty, musty, fusty, wusty, hussy, yucky energies. Now, from the heart chakra, the I love, compassion, connected, forgiveness, connection, A little bit of past life echoes with that would be grief and betrayal of vows of non-attachment, and some current life imprints would be heartbreaks, walls around intimacy, fear of rejection. Physically, we already know where the heart chakra is located. It does include the lungs as well, and circulatory system. Something more balanced would be having lots of compassion for yourself and others, unconditional love for yourself and others, forgiveness, and generosity, all for yourself and others. A more imbalanced take on our heart chakra, y'all, would be the bitterness, grief, codependency, not feeling whole in oneself, not feeling like a divine whole being, and emotional coldness, so not being able to have empathy for others, which would instate too that you would probably also not have empathy for self, because as we know in this class, anything we don't have ourselves, we also project onto others. Do or don't have, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly. So, some good ethic questions for thou shalt not thirst over thy neighbor's drip is going to be. Yeah, I thought this one was quite interesting from a genetic editing standpoint, because we are in this day and age. I'm pretty sure, should I even say this on TikTok? I really would love to work with Skims one day, but I'm pretty sure I would bet money that Kim Kardashian and, whatever, she for sure went to go get gene editing done for some of her kids. There's no doubt. Why I say this is look at the first child and then the next child. Very different. Yeah, so I'm okay, is that morally wrong to get genes edited? The thing of, I don't, when I speak out loud, guys, this is something you're supposed to be toying with, not me, but I want to toy with you right now. So here's the full question first. If genetic editing could create designer babies, should parents choose traits, ties to desire for more or better beyond natural gifts? Now, here's my thing with that. You guys can pop in the chat what you think as well. I'd love to hear and know. My thing with genetic editing, we already know and understand that the constellation, the zodiac system, or the energy snapshot, the energy of the stars is screenshotted. And we already know that the body is a vessel. So essentially, gene editing can enhance some things that are more from an energy standpoint. But we also know too from our good friend and trusted colleague who's in the 5D plus, Dolores Cannon, we already know for a fact that no matter what, everything that happens down in the 3D, from an energetic standpoint too, y'all, I'm kind of spreading out. Is it giving entropy? Sorry, let me reel this in. There's so many different aspects I'm thinking about right now. Let me try to anchor this concept. So it's kind of multifaceted because we already know with energy in general, the 3D is last to see the energy, right? So with gene editing, what's happening is people can gene edit, but the thing that we already know is a lot of these things are going to be filtered from the upper dimensions and the upper energies in the quantum field. For example, I haven't really talked to you guys about this very much, have I? I don't think I have. Yeah, there's actually quite a lot to talk about this, so maybe we should even do a full video on this because it's quite interesting. Essentially, y'all, we know that the last thing to manifest is in the 3D physical because the physical is super dense. So that means that things were already energetically mapped out. To include, we already know our soul corrections, we pick our parents, everything is agreed upon energetically. To include, then, if there's gene editing being done on the 3D plane, these things are already confirmed on the other side to be approved and to happen, right? So I wouldn't even say that it would be unethical, because these things are to, what is to manifest is what is to actually happen. You can't necessarily edit the soul, right? So since we have these vessels, you can edit the vessel, but you can't edit the energy of the soul. That is already picked and finalized before it enters the vessel. Okay? So with that being said, you can only go so far from a genetic standpoint as to what you want to try to create, because when the soul comes into the vessel, that is already a screenshotted snapshot of the energy at that specific time. So in that case, now that I am speaking on this out loud, what I'm thinking is, if one could utilize genetic editing to have a specific, for the baby to be born at a specific day, time, and place, then you'd be screenshotting the energy of the soul because it's in the stars, or at least the soul corrections. So essentially, you could technically, I guess, from a higher standpoint, actually kind of energetically screenshot the stars if you can have the baby be born at a very specific time to the millisecond, and also you're screenshotting the energy not only within that millisecond but wherever that spot is of birth, the coordinates of birth on the earth. Wow, I'm a poet. Call me Dr. Seuss. Now, I'm speaking out loud. Let me know if you guys are like, if this is interesting or not. But no matter what, so that would give somewhat, the stars show you the energy of the person, their past lives, their this, their that. They show a lot. So you're I don't know, like, are you technically at that point anchoring in, you're picking a soul out based on the energy snapshot if you were able to genetically make sure that a baby was born at a specific time, and you're screenshotting, of course, the energy of the stars underneath that specific coordinate. Right, so I'm like, okay, because then you're also trying to control their soul correction. So guys, if this doesn't tell you that God resides within, I don't know what does. Essentially, to me, it's giving, correct me if I'm wrong, that you could essentially get to the point where you're so good at all this gene editing to the point where you know the stars and what type of personality and what their past life history would be, like, where you are pulling a specific soul out from the 5D plus and anchoring them into the 3D physical here. Like, I know I probably didn't say that as perfectly as I would probably have liked to have said that, but if you guys are catching my drift here, this is what? What is life? Exactly, that's what I'm saying. If you are particular to editing the genes to where they're going to develop at a specific rate, to be born at a specific time, that screenshots whatever the specific energy is right at that specific coordinate where that baby is born, then that is like putting your 3D energetic hand into the pot of souls and being like, yeah, let's anchor that soul right into this vessel. So, this is kind of getting into maybe some more advanced spiritual fluff. I don't want to call it fluff, but ideas. Some advanced out there ideas. But yeah, so you're kind of like God at that point, because you're just picking out the soul because you're grabbing into the pot of the zodiac, or the energy of the stars at that point. Yeah, so anywho, it's very interesting to think about. It's like, I don't know, the possibilities of life are so endless that there's probably truth to what I'm saying. To a high degree. And they're probably already thinking about that anyways. Yeah, so guys, the ethic question that we were discussing here is, if genetic editing could create designer babies, should parents choose the traits? Now, yeah, the next question that I thought was good for this 10th law is, if a law benefits the majority, but it harms a small minority, is it just? Now, this is essentially testing coveting collective gain versus compassion. Here's the thing, guys. When it comes to life, we already know, because we see this daily, everything has to be in balance. So if there's a collective gain that's happening, there is going to be some type of imbalance somewhere else. And we don't always hear about it, or sometimes we do hear about it. So there's always going to be some laws that, when they are helpful for the majority, are harmful towards some of the minority, and vice versa. Which is quite an interesting thing to think about. Yeah. So, happy Friday night, y'all. Look at us, speaking ethics and wisdom on a Friday night. Because life is about balance. Now, we already spoke about this towards the beginning of this series, and I'm going to reiterate a couple of the pieces about the number 10 symbolically for us, because it does carry a lot of deep spiritual wisdom. Now, and scientific symbolism, of course. Embodiment of completion, unity, divine order, manifesting into form. Spiritually, it's the return to oneness after the cycle of creation, because one is source or God, the masculine principle, okay, of initiation that merges with zero, which is the void, the feminine principle, or the infinite potential. Yeah, the duality of oneness, which is interesting because we all have masculine and feminine within us to specific degrees. So together they actually signify God manifested, the union of the metaphysical, which would be the feminine, and matter, which would be the gentleman. Okay? The gentleman, the masculine, heaven and earth. Heaven, feminine, earth, masculine. Now, we already know in the Kabbalah, which I did post that for you guys. I said I was going to, and I did, because, we out here. I posted the 10 Commandments linked to the 10 Sphera on the Tree of Life for the Kabbalah. So you guys can check that out if you'd like, or screenshot it and save it. Now, we already know that there's those 10 spheres of conscious energies on the Tree of Life, and each of those vessels through which the divine energy flows and anchors down into the 3D here. Now, it forms complete structure of existence. As we already know, biblically, we got the 10 Commandments, the divine law reflecting also cosmic order. And we know this is reflected because I've been going through a lot of the different cosmic order, aka scientific sides, per all of our different laws. And it gives us more of a moral architecture of creation as well. So when you reduce 10 to 1, 1 plus 0 is 1. So that... numerically. So in numerology, if you have 10 and you separate them, 1 plus 0 is 1. Completion of a cycle to start a new beginning, a rebirth at higher octaves. Within the Pythagorean numerology, 10 is the... I don't know if I say this right. Tetra, we all know is 10, but tetrakeys? I think I said that right. It's kind of nice. It's kind of cool. Tetrakeys. Sacred triangle. of 1. So 1 to 4, when you add all those up, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10, symbolizing harmony between the 4 elements, the 4 dimensions, totality, and creation. Now, it is considered a perfect number which encapsulates all prior numbers, representing the cosmic blueprint of wholeness. From a scientific perspective, 10 governs our decimal system. Decimal system. So funny. I was going to say a joke, but I don't think I'm going to say that joke. The universal language of mathematics, essentially it mirrors the natural human design of our 10 fingers, 10 toes, because we be standing 10 feet down, 10 feet, 10 toes on business, guys. Now, that's how we engage with the world, right? Within physics, we have the string theory, which, if y'all, physics just got me in like some type of quantum conundrum, because you start to go down these paths of theories. We got the string theory. It's like never ending. It's like endless. The possibilities are endless. Talk about mind-boggling, mind-bending things. String theory suggests that the universe itself is structured on 10 dimensions, echoing the mystic idea that reality unfolds through 10 emanations, just like the tree of life, right? Now, 10 is a symbol of completion with infinity, divine structure, order, matter, cycles, eternally beginning anew. Yeah, quite crazy. I don't have my book over here outside to read. I mean, it's right there. Well, string theory is like kind of mind-bending. Yeah, maybe we can even do like a whole section on string theory. I do want to, well, yeah, no, we're going to do that. We'll do that after Charlie Kirk, because it's quantum. It's part of the quantum content that I would like to start putting together for you guys, that I think you'll really enjoy, because, you know, we're quantum beings. Yeah, we are. We've always been quantum. I'll give you a sneak peek as to why we're quantum beings. Look at the gene, our genes, the DNA, the helix, whatever the frick it's called, is particle and wave. Particle wave theory is a huge, the dualism of the particle and the wave. That's like pretty much all things quantum. So technically our DNA is quantum, and we are quantum. So there you have it, guys. There it is. Yeah, pretty cool that we have quantum DNA. It's literally wave and particle in one. Like, talk about freaking awesome. Like, don't mean to toot our own horns, but we're pretty freaking cool. That is so delicious. So bomb. So bomb. Now, right? We should. I'm just getting very obsessed with all things physics, and I think I can help you guys understand why I'm obsessed. It's because I really challenge you guys in this classroom here, outside of this classroom, anytime you read something scientific, always try to see where it fits in spiritually. How is this true? And you can think about it from your own aspect and perspective. How is this true for me? How does this fit into my life? It'll not only help you understand the concepts better from the scientific perspective, but from an applied perspective as well, right? Which, when we have applied understanding, our world opens up even more. Applied understanding of concepts and things. Yeah, so I'm like, dang, we out here straight quantum beings, freaking particle and wave, what's good? Like, say less, say less. Let's just go over a little bit of what Dennis Prager would say on the 10th law of thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's drip. Yeah. Drip is such a great way to say that someone has, like, actual swag. When I was reading earlier today, it's like all I do, but embellishments, I was like, humans are embellishments of the earth. Yeah, Mr. Kinglehertz, whatever, yeah, you're about to be out of here with lowy, lusty, dusty, crusty, musty, fusty, wusty, rusty, lusty energies. So let's keep it relaxed, okay? What was I telling you guys? See how that's such a distraction? What was I telling you guys? Oh, embellishments. So humans are, if you're to look at the earth, humans are embellishments. We are like the decorative pieces that are just dancing across the earth. And I was like, no wonder, speaking of thy neighbor's drip here, right? No wonder humans generally like to put themselves together or wear specific things, or when you put something on, you feel a specific way, because just as humans embellish the earth with their divinity, their divine light, clothes are something that we embellish ourselves with. And I'm like, no wonder they're so, I don't know, it just feels really fun to, like, express ourselves externally through embellishments, just as the earth or the universe expresses itself externally through humans bopping around and doing their thing. I don't know, I just thought that was really cute. I was like, wow, we're so cute. We're like, we are the decoration of the earth or the universe. Thank you guys for being here. Are we almost at 6-7? Are we almost at 6-7 freaking hearts right now? That's crazy. That's crazy. That's quantum. I'm so glad you guys are here, right, Connor? Same. That emoji is my life. That emoji is my life, y'all. Sideways cry. Okay, so yeah, Dennis Prager, his more practical viewpoint on the 10th commandment, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's drip. Drippy. So it's the unique prohibition that prohibits not an action but a thought. Right, so that's kind of cool because we've discussed a lot of the previous thing are, lying is a thought as well. Before it becomes everything's a thought. Shoot. Guys, you're starting to hear how my brain works, where it's like the paradox of just life in general. But essentially, so what Dennis is saying here is, this is a thought. When you covet thy neighbor's drip, right? You're not taking anything except you're giving bad energies, for one. Now, the root cause of many great evils is bad thoughts, bad mind, evil mind, right? So, unlike mere envy, coveting means actively desiring to take someone's possession of someone that belongs to something. You know what I'm saying? Now, the thing about social media, y'all, is we could fall into this so quickly because we're like, oh, that person has this, kind of analyzing and analyzing from a inaccurate standpoint of, look what they have and I don't, which we all know will only create more negative energy and leave you with less. Whenever we go on social media, we should be applauding people for what they've completed or what they've done, right? We should be sending positive energies, and we should be also essentially looking from a place of, wow, they can do it, which shows me I can manifest and do it too, right? Coming from that mindset over coming from a place of lack. When you come from a place of wholeness, we already know the ripple effects that will happen within our lives and how great that is. So I think I put on too much blush today. I feel like vanity. Sorry. I'm sidetracked here. Sorry about that. I just feel like I look like a freaking like cherry, Cherries. Cherries are delicious. Yeah. So the mindset can lead directly to violations of the preceding laws that we've already discussed against murder, adultery, stealing, against perjury, aka false testimony under oath. How so? Well, Dennis Prager is essentially saying that people murder because they covet, they commit adultery because they covet a spouse, they steal because they covet possessions. So the thought is exactly what I was saying earlier when I was getting into my paradoxical, whimsical, whatever, where the thought always comes first before these other things actually ground into reality. So if we can protect our mind and protect our thoughts, and a great way to do that is to maintain healthy cognitive abilities through meditation, right? We already know the benefits of meditation, which I will have you know, I did have another angry session. I did 2 meditations though today. One of them went very well. The other one was angry. Sorry. Yeah. And I was like, sometimes you just gotta do it anyways. I don't know why I was mad. Just being like emotional, probably because I'm not feeling well still. Like my emotions and my hormones must be a little bit off because it's so odd. Back-to-back angry meditations. Oh man. Y'all, life is so funny sometimes. So, foster happier thoughts through more positive positive meditation sessions. Yeah. Right? Exactly. We got it. It's important. Very important. So, so everything starts as a thought. Back to Prager. He clarifies that, of course, admiring and wishing for things is not prohibited, right? Just like I was saying, when it comes to social media, it should be an inspiration. Or if you catch yourself slipping and having negative thoughts, then you need to take a break from social media. Now, desires can even be extremely constructive, motivating people to improve their own lives. Amen to that. So, we gotta harness desires for having and finding that healthy golden mean, as our boy Tuttle would say, where we're not going to any extremes, right? We're finding the nice mean of healthy desires to utilize as motivation for anchoring what is possible and being grateful for even being shown what is possible as well, right? To be able to bring into our realities, which is pretty cool. The 10th law forbids destructive desire to take what is not rightfully yours, essentially. So, respecting boundaries in thought is essential to preserving justice and preventing a societal breakdown. Yes, words, thoughts, and actions, those things when they're in alignment, that's how you can bring things and manifest things very quickly. Have more transformation of your vessel to bring in more divine light for miracles of anchoring these things that you desire. And our thoughts, happiness is a choice. Happiness is a choice. You can be pretty close to always happy, but you do have to have the other emotions are healthy as well, because it creates what? Balance. Balance in all things. I would even argue you could still be happy and angry at the same time. A lot of things happen simultaneously. Like, you might be happy in one sector or pillar of your life, and you might be angry in another for a second or two. But anger can actually lead to greater happiness, because anger is a good eye-opener of where am I maybe... Life would be bland if you only felt exactly a singular moment in time, simultaneously gone yet eternal. Oh snap, y'all are like preachers. This is an army of preachers out here. I'm impressed. Yeah, exactly. What was I trying to say? I don't even recall again. But you guys catch the energy that I'm putting out, because even if my brain is not working at full capacity with my leaky lymph nodes, swollen lymph nodes, y'all feel the energy, and that is what matters. So, back to law number 10, not coveting thy neighbor's drip. We're going to get into Dolores Cannon a little bit. I love her. I was listening to some of her stuff last night. Her stuff on Jesus, guys, I'm going to do a whole class on that too. We'll do that after quantum. So we got a list, and if y'all want to throw anything into the list, you let me know, right? You can either message me directly or put it in the chat. But yeah, so we'll do Charlie Kirk, we'll do quantum, we'll do Jesus, Dolores Cannon. Because I got some juiciness. Some juice. It be staying juicy. Okay. Yes. So, yeah, excited. Me too. It's gonna be quite an experience together. Do we go past 6-7 on the hearts? That's crazy. Facts, bro. Actually, I'm so glad that you got that. I was cracking that open. You have to like reread her stuff too, you know? And so you've inspired me to start to crack it open again, to start rereading some of it. Even her first paragraph, I just love her so much. Like, she's so smart in a non-flashy way. She's so subtly smart. I do actually think that I'm probably gonna do... Eventually, I want to take her quantum hypnosis course. I haven't even looked into it, but it's on her website. Yeah, so I really want to take her quantum hypnosis course and start to learn about how to, like, regress people. Oh my gosh. Am I becoming, like, a mini, like, Dolores Cannon? She's kind of my idol. But as we know, we shouldn't have idols. Y'all keep me in check here. Dolores. I digress. I'm just being silly. I'm just being raw in the wild here. Y'all are seeing me in my natural habitat. Yeah. Okay. So, Dolores Cannon. Yeah, Dolores Cannon. Just so great. The law against coveting would be about energetic alignment, or even misalignment, and what can happen there. So she often taught that when people obsess, I really love the word obsess, over what others have, whether it's a partner, wealth, status, drip, they are actually sending out a vibration of lack, ultimately disconnecting themselves from source, which we never are fully disconnected, but essentially it's the idea of less light in your vessel. Think of it how you can dim a light dimmers, right? So when we're putting out any negative energy, our light just dimmed a little bit. Okay. Now, this will create, as we already know, karmic imbalance. It's interesting how all of our laws that we've been through can create karmic imbalance, which is something that you know. You, me, he, we, she, they, and thee, we all know. We don't want no additional karma imbalances than what we already have. And we want to actually add to our dharma and our positive karma, right? Over time. And quantum leap. So, yeah, if you are having karmic imbalance, you can get trapped in lower dimensional thinking. No, thank you. We all know, and maybe we've even been lower dimensional thinking ourselves in the past, or even in a past life. It's the worst thing that you could be. Lower dimensional cognitive levels, or consciousness levels, or frequency levels is the worst. And it's hard to break free from those things and those patterns, as we know and see within some of our own sphere of people that, are in our lives, that are in heavy, dense, lower dimensional thinking and bad karmic patterns. They're just hard to break out from. So coveting attaches to desire in a way that will disrupt your soul's lessons. Now, our girl Dolores would emphasize everything you need is already written into your soul's plan. Remember, we always speak about the energy agreements before you are catapulted into a vessel? Exactly that. You are divinely guided, divinely led. You are connected to source. You are divinely taken care of. A lot of times in your life, you can reflect on so many times where you needed something and then it came through. Maybe it didn't come through how you would have expected, but your needs were still met, right? Beautiful, beautiful thing. So essentially, everything we have and everything we need, all of our essentials are already written into the cosmic fabric of reality. That way we can live out our purpose, our dharma, okay? If something is meant for someone, it will come at the right time, in the right way, in divine timing, without having to steal, without having to manipulate, without having to take. When you covet, you interfere with your journey, not only your journey, but also their journey as well, right? Ties you into cycles of jealousy, loops of reincarnation until you learn to release the need to covet and also start to trust in divine provision. Coveting will lock people into illusion of separation. In some of Dolores' regressions, she spoke on how souls choose to have their experiences of growth. To covet what belongs to another is to forget that you are on your own path with your own lessons. So she would essentially say that you can't take another soul lesson to make it your own, and that is not how the game is designed. So this law is essentially about moving beyond ego-based desire of the 3D and some of the 4D to create and lean into higher consciousness collectively. The 3 to 4D will lead to destruction when you're coveting, theft, adultery, violence. In the 5D plus, as we all know in this class, you realize that everything is energy to include yourself, and you can manifest abundance directly without needing to take from anyone else. Right? So, she would form the 10th commandment as trusting in divine timing with your soul's alignment, staying on your path. What is yours will never pass you by. Again, coming from a place of a whole vessel, I am whole and complete, I am divine, right? When we come from a place of wholeness, we are not affected by the 3D and the 4D, right? Ripping off the Old Testament. How so, bud? How so? And also, yeah, let me see if you want to put your camera on and show me your Old Testament in your room. Physical copy. Let me see it physical. 'Cause I be reading mine daily, bruh. I got 2 copies within arm's reach, bruh. Where you at, bruh? Oh yeah, sit down. Okay? Now, back to class. So, sorry about that, guys. So, back to Dolores. Yeah, what is yours will never pass you by. When you covet, you delay your soul's evolution. Okay? We don't want to slow down processes, right, guys? We are quantum beings. No, facts, bro. I'm like, come at me sideways. I want someone to come at me sideways. I am a fiery person, and it has gotten me in trouble before, and I have had to contain it. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to come from a middle standpoint. I'm like, shoot. Okay, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I've got like so many Bibles. I'm like, does that mean I'm like cool? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Connor. Appreciate you, bro. You too, bro. You got who good. These New Age people repeat what's in the Bible. Yeah, here's the thing about religion, what we know in this class. Religion is essentially a lot of the same energetic stamps, just the information is organized in a different way. Across every discipline, even science is mirrored in religion as well. So one could even say that the energy of religion is a response to the energy of the area. And that's on Bible, and that's on God, and that's on source, that's on divine, and that's on quantum. That's right, we on quantum out here. Appreciate you guys. Now, yeah, when you create an alignment, you're stepping into your higher self, you step into infinite abundance. You could even think of your inner, when we say God is within, that is your higher self as well. Now, we all have spirit teams, spirit angels, we even have ancestors, and even potentially, depending on who I'm talking to in the chat here, you guys might have like animal souls too on the other side. So we can tap into those energies, we can tap into the quantum, we can also tap into our higher self, which is technically what I would consider God within. So you can pray to your higher self too. Praying, you guys, is essentially, it's not worship, right? Worshipping is different than prayer. Prayer is speaking out loud what you'd like to anchor into existence. Yeah, so Eastern, Western, mysticism, all of this stuff, a lot of it is this very similar concepts, just from different avenues. Yeah, we talk about a lot of Judaism as well, like Jewish Kabbalah stuff as well. Speaking of, that's where we're going next. So let's talk about that with the 10th law in the Bible, which is thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's drip. Okay. Yeah. In the Kabbalah, the 10th law would be seen as completion of the Decalogue, which is the seal that ties the commandments to the inner workings of the tree of life. And I did post that for you guys to see, where I have all the 10 commandments on the tree of life on all my platforms. While the other laws regulate external behavior, the 10th dives into the realm of thought and desire, okay, addressing inner world where action is conceived. Everything starts from within. Now, the 10th law is most associated with the Malkhut, which is the kingdom, the final Sephra. Malkhut, y'all, receives all the energies from the higher Sephra, that's linked to the divine, or the Ein Sof, which is the infinite one, the one, the all, which is also what we are, the one, the all. Okay, you hear me? Now, manifesting them into physical reality. So, to covet thy neighbor's drip is to distort your Malkhut. We ain't trying to have no distorted nothing. Remember, we don't want no distortion. We don't want no entropy. We don't want no chaos. We don't want no disorder. We don't want no fragmentation of energy. The divine is getting lip filler 5 times in a row. Exactly, bro. I need more lip filler. And what would help me out is if you share my live so I could get more viewers, so I can go out and buy more lip filler. So please share my content to help me out. Appreciate that. Now, I don't know if you guys can see the people on the screen. It's like... okay, so you can't see it. Okay, so I can actually let you see it, I think, just for giggles. I'll approve it. So it's one that I had to approve. Yeah. Yeah, I do actually need more Botox as well, because anyone who is understanding of the map of the face also understands, anyone who is well studied within many disciplines also understands that Botox can actually be used as preventative maintenance. And preventative maintenance, essentially, you want to go from the Aristotle's golden mean. You don't want to do too much, you don't want to do too little. When you do too much, you get botched. When you do too little, you're not preventing the wrinkles. Preventative maintenance is all about making sure you're filling in some of the volume, because as you age, if one understands genetics and their genes, their gene expression that has essentially instructions, divine code, as one ages, that instruction starts to dwindle over time. And therefore, when you have less information on how to produce specific cells, those cells will start to dwindle over time. So as one ages, one loses a little bit of muscle mass throughout the body, especially with women, more so than men as women age. Another way to actually help with that gene expression is this beautiful thing called NAD+. So NAD+ will actually help your gene expression to go back and fill in some of that missing information. Therefore, over time, what will happen with NAD+, as one consistently takes it, is you'll find that your cellular structures will actually improve, essentially reversing your biological age, slowly but surely. So, if you'd like, yeah, we can go down many rabbit holes, because I understand how these things work. I'm not sure what you're saying. So, troll you, I'm not sure what you're saying. And you're about to be off. Yeah, Connor is saying you're about to be booped. Bippity boppity booped right on ouch here. Because you're not at the energetic vibrational level of being able to sit in a classroom with these types of souls. On Bible. You just got into all this information. Dusty. Dusty, crusty, musty, fusty, wusty. Okay, so troll you. We're gonna go ahead and say goodbye. And I don't see you entering again in this lifetime, because it seems like you're kind of further down the path of soul ascension than majority of people. So yeah, it's also La Pasta Luego from here on out. We get in that block and we confirmed. So you out ya. Bye. See you never. See you never. Anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, just aging in general. Highly recommend though, guys, to, if you don't take NAD+, look into it. Yeah, we out here. Freaking quantum. Because NAD+, like I was saying, it's a molecule that can essentially help to restore some of the gene expression information that dwindles as you age. It's very, very good. And just make sure you actually pay for the good stuff. I don't know if the generic would be good or not. Like, it's, if you're like, yeah. Anyways. But we already know anyways, these bodies are temporary, but we should still, try to take care of ourselves the best we can with what we have. So back to Malkhut, which we don't want Malkhut fractured energies, right? Essentially, let's see. Yeah, so we don't want to distort Malkhut. Instead of allowing divine abundance to flow as it is apportioned, the soul tries to pull what is not its portion, creating an imbalance and creating a corruption of receptivity. rather than receiving in alignment with divine will, one grasps from a place of ego. And we all know ego is like the worst thing to be led by. Ego in balance. We need less ego, more truth and reality. Inflated ego is bad. And it definitely, as we already know from doing all of our chakra series, we understand that when we have an inflated ego, I believe it was the third eye? It was either the third eye or the crown chakra. I want to say it was the third eye. Yeah, because it was the sixth chakra, and the third eye is the sixth chakra from the ground up. So the third eye, when we are moving from a place of ego, our third eye is going to be moving from over too much energy, like an over balance place. And as we all understand and know, because we probably all have people in our lives that operate daily from ego, they're the type of people that are never wrong, right? They're never wrong. They're disconnecting themselves from divine light and divine source because they're over operating from their sixth chakra. So it does cut off your ability to even properly be able to utilize your third eye, your mind's eye. So we're at 72. Wow, guys, thank you. It's so nice. Now, the Kabbalah also teaches us that creation itself is built on desire, which, if you guys haven't watched my desire and desire builds, wisdom creates, I'm gonna look it up right now. Y'all need to watch this. It's really, really good. It'll help you feel, if you're ever feeling unsteady, like, oh, do I even belong? Who doesn't have thoughts like that sometimes, right? Like, we're all human. Then watch this video to include if you're ever going on a new project, or you're like, oh, like, is anyone gonna like this? Is anyone gonna like what I created? Or is anyone gonna like my product? Or whatever you're doing, okay? Or it doesn't matter, whatever you're doing, whatever you're trying to create. Or if you're feeling like, oh man, am I lost in the sauce? I just don't know if I even belong, blah, blah, blah. Watch this one. Watch this video. Maybe I could tag it as my top video. Desire plans, wisdom builds. It's one of my favorite videos on here. Desire plans, wisdom builds. Okay. It's one of my favorites because it gives you the balance of, essentially, desire is a reaction to, energetically, in the ripple of our quantum field. Desire is a reaction to something that is to be built or wanting to be built, and vice versa, to include our human suits. So, it just really helps you with understanding that, whatever idea or whatever you're trying to create or anchor, you're actually given that idea to create or anchor because there's someone else in the world who desires for it to be built, okay? Or to experience it, right? Which is pretty cool because things are extremely balanced, and reactions energetically, or reactions would be more like chemistry, but you could say like a response to within the quantum particle field of reality that we have, which is pretty cool. It just helps you understand that, everything that is to be manifested is manifested for a reason, for a purpose, right? So, back to what the Kabbalah says on this, essentially, that creation itself is built on desire. Vessels exist to receive divine light, if a vessel tries to hold what was meant for another, it will shatter, will kill pot in your vessels, echoing the shattering of your vessel, essentially. And also, as we all know, whenever we shatter our own vessel, we also are putting a shatter in the cosmic vessel as well, of the all, the one. So, the 10th law then is a tikkun, one of our favorite words, soul correction within the Kabbalah, rectification of desire to call to refine one's yearning, so it aligns with one's soul path rather than another's. Y'all, I'm fading. I'm fading. Maybe let's just talk about where are we at. I still have to. Okay, let's see. I'm kind of fading. You guys want to talk about something else? And I like don't mean to do this, but then we would have to. I don't have to go through all of this. I have more for, of course, looking at the different scientific disciplines and then our boy Toddle as well. So, I mean, either we could finish this again on Monday, or I can just we can just like kind of skip it and I can jump right into, our boy Charlie Kirk on Monday. Thank you guys. I gave my little cheek a kiss. I'm blushing. Or I just put way too much freaking blush on today. Perhaps the combination of the two. Yeah, up to you guys. I'm down to chill and chat for a little bit more on anything else, but I'm kind of just, or you guys want to reflect a little bit on what we've already discussed, anything like really pique interest, either today or any of the things that I've discussed. Give me something juicy. I need something that's a little more juicy to like jazz me up a little bit with my freaking lymph nodes, my swollen lymph nodes out here. I'm hoping, well, I know for a fact I'll feel good on Monday because my throat is already better, and then it's just the lymph nodes is usually the last piece. I miss a lot. I just got home from the office. That's awesome, man. Are you in a different, do you work until 10:30 at night, or are you in a different time zone? Or even a different time zone, maybe a different time zone even within the US or whatever. Well, essentially today we were discussing some fun things. Oh, got it. 11, 10, 11, 12, 1. So you're over on, yeah. Nice. Atlanta's dope. They got a lot of bugs though, right? Georgia. Maybe I shouldn't sing. Sorry, guys. Okay, yeah, essentially though we were discussing, that's freaking dope that you're working that hard. What about Bush? What is that? We went through the 10th commandment, which is thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's drip. Which, yeah. Georgia Bush, it was like a meme or something. Oh, snap, I don't know. I'm behind on the times, guys. Catch me up. I love a good meme. And you know what? It's low-key kind of a talent to be able to create good memes. I definitely am good at creating good memes. I don't know if that's LinkedIn friendly. Be like, memes. I'm good at creating memes. Yeah, entrepreneur life is no joke. No freaking joke. I'm like still trying to figure out what I'm doing here, because obviously you don't just like, well, maybe some people, but you don't just start making like a fancy income out the floodgates when you do social media. And I've been grinding for so long. A Lil Wayne song? Oh, like what I was singing? Georgia, Georgia. Am I gonna get copywritten? Shoot. Production, take that out. Y'all. What was I saying? Who knows? I be saying things. What is going on with my hair? Being a girl is crazy. I swear, as a man in my most recent past life, I feel like I was. Though I do like it, it's just like it's a lot sometimes. Y'all, like, love on your ladies, because being a girl is freaking so much work. Vanity is ridiculous. It's like, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so we were talking today on the 10th law, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's drip. My hair is really long. It's fun. Do you ever braid it? Oh my god, it's so not. Especially like wearing full clothes. Y'all see me all clothed up the whole time. Y'all, it's so hard out here. Nice. I feel that. It's so hard out here. I'm like, shoot. If I was just to put the goods online, I'd literally have dollars in my bank account. But because I only put my brain online, the dollars aren't there. But yeah, the consistency is the thing that can push you to the next step or not. I'm not at that next step yet. I've been very, very consistent though. So it's only a matter of time. It's just, I don't know. It is a lot to be consistent. Long-term gains, yeah, for sure. Completely right, bro. Like, I'm really just, yeah, it's about making those daily deposits, and the best things in life, we all know, usually do not come immediately. And if they do, then one can have an inflated ego and lose everything that they've got, right? So essentially, I do have to be grateful for sure for the amount of work I've had to do with no return, because it builds character, and then you become much more grateful when you do see the larger opportunities start to hit the account, and you start to understand how to, of course, operate from a higher consciousness level with being able to take care of the fruits of your labor as well, right? That's so sweet. Thank you, Ethan. I'm so glad. I see you out there doing big things. Yeah. The consistency is key. Yeah. Yeah, so the reason I do J.A. Gracious, J.A.G. is my initials. And I was like, when I was first starting this, I was like, I want to kind of like start as like a somebody, right? Well, I'm looking at like JP Morgan and like all the people that are like ultra wealthy from the past that would only write their name as their first initials and then their last name. I'm like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna come in with a bang. Be like, yeah, JP Morgan, J.A. Gracious was good. My first name is Jackie or Jacqueline. Right? I'm like, I just feel like it's kind of nice. Or like, if you read any old books, I love a good old book. There's that one saying, you read an old book will teach you new things. And it's 100% correct. I love reading old books. All the old books too, everyone usually does first initial, middle initial, last name. I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like that's like proper, or I don't know. It's an elevated style, if you will. Right? Like, most people are authors. The older authors do that. I don't know. And then, of course, all the, like, ultra wealthy people from back in the day would always do their first initial, middle initial, last name. I don't know. I just felt like that was... I'm like, is there something that we don't know? Maybe I should try it out and see how it goes. But... yeah, exactly. Thank you. Appreciate that. Exactly my point. Yep. Right on the money. Right on the dot. Flostradamus, what are you saying, bud? What are you saying? Is it someone else? Is this a repeat offender? Y'all, we got repeat offenders. That's how good our lives are. Because people want to come back. If you're gonna roast in the chat, at least have it be really good. Someone said earlier they roasted me and they're like, you guys, tell me what it was. I'm like still coming down from sickness. What was it? Uncanny. They said what? Uncanny. Whatever that uncanny thing is. I was like, wait, that's actually a good roast. Thank you. I was like, wait, that's actually pretty good. Because here I am in the darkness and I've got like a lot of makeup on. And essentially that's what uncanny is. They're like in the darkness with a bunch of makeup on, but their makeup is a little bit more distorted. But I was like, that's actually quite the vibe. Facts. Exactly, guys. As we know, everything starts within, to include how people talk to you is how they feel about themselves. And it starts to break your heart when you really see the truth of that, because the nastier people are to you, the nastier they feel about themselves. And it's like, dang, that's no way to live. That's miserable. My heart hurts thinking about people actually thinking and living like that. Yeah, they always come back. Did he already skedaddle, or was that like a bot? I'm like, how many of these trolls are bots too, you know? Like, you can kind of tell who's a bot and who's not. Whoa, Dr. Seuss is coming out. Tell who's a bot and who's not. Yeah. The troll guy, it's like, bro, he's just that guy earlier. His tag was troll. I'm like, you're just asking to be ejected from this classroom right here, from this group. Yeah, exactly. Because they know the response is gonna freaking hurt worse than a reaction ever could. I try to be more responseful than reactful, but sometimes it gets the best of me here and there. You might catch me slipping here and there, but I try to stay on par with being respectfully straightforward. Yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely bananas. The amount of like crazy things people will say. And then they're just essentially, as we already know, within the Kabbalah, they're essentially just putting more bad karma juju into their own life. They're just creating a bigger monster in their own life that eventually has to unravel. Yeah, facts. Some of the comments get filtered and I have to like approve them. Like that one guy that was talking about my lips. I think that's the funny thing that people always want to talk about that. It's like, bro, say something I haven't heard before 1,000,000 times. Like, be a little bit more creative with it, you know? Like, the Uncanny Valley was creative. I'm like, I can respect that. That's creative. And it's giving. It's giving what it needs to give. Exactly. As above, so below. Exactly. As within, so without. Exactly. Y'all already get it. And that's why you can literally just not even react to any of these haters, these naysayers, because the hate starts from within. It's crazy. What else? Oh my gosh. Y'all, I got some interesting books the other day. Should I say this on TikTok? I think that's a funny thing to say on TikTok. Should I say this on TikTok? Because then people lean in, you know? And even TikTok is probably leaning in right now. Secretly. You know for a fact they got people on the other side watching. The crazy thing, you guys ever notice how much TikTok... Okay, I won't. Thank you for that. But the craziest thing you guys notice, I'm sure you guys have noticed with TikTok, like you do one thing on your phone, it might even be a voice message that you send, and TikTok will still pull something out of that and pop it right into your For You page. For example, I said Dr. Seuss in a voice message, text message. I said Dr. Seuss and I whispered it. It wasn't even clear, cognitive. Next day I open my TikTok. First thing I see on my For You page, Dr. Seuss Cat in the Hat dancing to, it was like My Goodies or something by Sierra or something like that. I'm like, the amount of intrusion that TikTok really has in our lives and our daily phones, exactly, tapped in, is crazy. And oh yeah, they stay watching, brother. Oh, they're in your drafts. They're in your mind. I'm just kidding. My zodiac, my main 3. Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, privacy is going to be part of ethics. You know, that's ethics, part of ethics too, right? So it'll be interesting how things pan out. I mean, essentially, we're already kind of like cyborgs. We just don't have the actual phone attached to our bodies until we get the Neuralink, which, believe me, guys, if I can afford to get that Neuralink, you better believe I'm gonna be first in line. Like, I want to be freaking, like, put me in, coach, put me in. I'm trying to be freaking ultra lit with that intelligence there. But yeah, as far as zodiac, so my main 3, technically, I know a lot about Western zodiac, but from my spiritual understanding that I've grown, Vedic zodiac is actually much more dialed in than Western. And I'm like, dang, so now I gotta study freaking Vedic zodiac. Which is fine, I'm gonna do that, but I don't know much about the Vedic, which is like all the Indian astrology. But from the Western perspective, which is still pretty dialed, it's just not as dialed. Aries sun, and then the Virgo rising, which, if you guys can't tell by how detail oriented I am, that's absolutely Virgo. And Virgo is probably also why I like to like get my makeup to the 9s. It's giving perfectionist. if you know anything about Virgos. And then my moon, this is probably the other thing that you guys will see. So my fiery personality, you guys already see. Virgo, you already see with how detail oriented I am. But also, if you can't tell by the black surrounding me, my moon sign is a Scorpio. So anything dark, delicious, taboo is absolutely my cup of tea. And then all the other stuff too. I've got a Pisces Mars, which is really funny to have because I am a crybaby. You guys would probably be so shocked. Like, Pisces Mars is essentially, they cry at the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like, the good things I cry too. I cry about everything. It doesn't matter. I cried today for sure. Let me try to think about what I cried about. Which is funny because you guys see this side of me, which is extremely straightforward and like, it is what it is or whatever. Like, but I do have an extreme crybaby side where I can cry about pretty much anything. Today I cried about, what did I cry about? I don't remember what I cried about, but it was earlier in the morning and I was laying with my legs up the wall, which is really good for you guys if you don't ever do that. Essentially, you lay down and then you just put your legs straight up the wall because it I do it every day. It reverses the blood flow. I mean, you could do the same thing if you do a lot of like handstands or whatever, or, you know, cartwheels or something. It's just good to get upside down. So yeah, but I do remember I was like crying about something. I don't even know. I don't know. Y'all, I was crying. Anyways, yeah. So, you guys know what your zodiac is? It's super interesting putting your credentials into ChatGPT or Grok, because then you can find out your past life archetypes too, which I've gone down that path. It's a very interesting, fun path to go down. Yeah, all you have to do is put in your the time that you were born, the place you were born, and obviously the date and the year, but yeah. Understanding some of your past life archetypes is like, it's so spot on. It's bizarre. It always shocks me. I'm like, because what'll happen is you can put in that information, and then ChatGPT will take a lot of the, what's it called, like the, I don't know if it's called like a trine or the aspects. There's like certain positions within the stars that show different alignments for past life archetypes and energies, and it's super dialed. And then when you read through a lot of those archetypes, some of them are really heavy hitters and resonate on a very high level. They're like screaming silently when you read them. I'm like, oh yeah, this is absolutely a past life archetype for me. Like, this is giving my energy currently. Like, I would literally bet money that I was a part of the Egyptian rite rituals, like the death rituals in Egypt. And I would bet money that I was a part of the Catholic, either monk or nun. I'm thinking it was more of a monk, poring over sacred texts, living a cloistered life, tucked away from reality in Europe, like maybe medieval type of scenario within the Catholic Church. For sure, I still do that to this day. I pore over texts all the time, and I do like to do that late at night as well. And solitude too. I love being by myself, which is giving cloistered activities, like being used to being by yourself. And then also, what else? There was one that was quite odd. My aunt and I were going through these things together. I was looking up hers as well. And if you guys wanted me to look up yours, I'm happy to do that. But I was looking up hers, and she was like, hers had a few where she was in war. So, like, what was probably killing. I mean, we've all potentially actually even either killed someone, or we've been a part of the decision process to have someone killed, technically, in a past life. It's pretty, because, I mean, look at history. All history is basically people killing each other. So what does that entail? That entails we were probably a part of that, guys, unfortunately, and we had to learn these lessons and have karmic retributions. Nonetheless, when I put in my information to ChatGPT, it, outputted a bunch of different past life archetypes. One of my aunt's past life archetypes was being in war and killing for the sake of, the country or whatever at that time, or the clan. And mine didn't have anything about killing people. It was more about the spiritual aspect type of archetypes, which makes sense for, like, what I currently do as well. But so my aunt's like, well, you should ask, are there any aspects, within your past life archetypes within the screenshot of the stars that might show that you've killed or murdered? So I asked, and it was like highly probable that I have been the person that was in charge of making the decisions for someone to be murdered, Not that I was like it didn't have much about being in war. It was more of from a standpoint of like an executioner type of standpoint, or someone who would have someone else put to death. So I potentially have some of that in my past, which is like so bizarre to think about if that's actually a thing or not. But either way, as you guys all know, the ripple effects of karma across time, we all, no matter what has happened in any of our past lives, these things will all balance out. I would bet money too that I was, I don't know, there's something, I haven't actually looked into this, but I would bet money. I haven't put this information into like AI or Grok ChatGPT, but I would actually bet money that I potentially might have been a slave at one point as well. That I was a slave, which a lot of us potentially in different archetypes were slaves as well. Aquarius moon was in Scorpio. Oh, got it. Aquarius on February 1st. So, yeah. Yeah, because the moon does show you based off of the area. So you put the area, you just don't know the time, and the time would give you the rising. Because they do oscillate, they go back and forth with the time or the rising. Aquarius is actually a fantastic sun to have because Aquarians are technically the earth with water. You're like the goat water bearer or something like that. So essentially with Aquarius energy, it's the type of energy that not only needs its solitude, but it also needs to go out and collectively like change and grow with humanity. Like they're very much humanitarian type of energies. Moon Scorpio, that's wild because we share a Scorpio moon. Scorpio moon is, I would say, one of the harder placements to have if you don't know how to control the energy because it's very intense. You guys, the moon sign is technically your emotions and how you filter and process those. And Scorpio is a sign of extremes. It's a sign of brooding, of obsession, of more taboo type of energy. And so when you have the moon, your emotions, in such a deep well of taboo energy, if it's not harnessed properly, it can get out of control. However, when it's harnessed properly, the amount of depth one can have on an emotional level when someone has a Scorpio moon, I'm speaking from experience, right? The amount of depth one can have and empathy one can have, you can see things from a much deeper perspective, kind of all sides to the coin. Not just the two sides of the coin, but also the middle part that surrounds the two sides, right? Yeah, it's a very intense energy to have. Your rising sign is essentially, guys, how you present yourself to the world and to people and to everyone around you. It's kind of like the leading personality, and then your sun sign is like when you're more relaxed, I'd say. Like when I'm more, for example, in a more relaxed state, I'm usually working from my fiery energy if I feel safe to be myself. My fiery, like, I'm usually funny, cracking jokes, saying something kind of odd. My Virgo energy, which you guys see a lot in the classroom here, is going to be more detail-oriented, more on the spot, more methodical, more logical, right? And then my Scorpio moon energy is how I actually can have depth sometimes when people are coming at me sideways with the lower energies. How you can see I can respond and adapt in many different ways depending on who is saying what and when, right? Yeah, so it's quite interesting because, I mean, the Western zodiac is quite a beautiful amount of information where you can understand not only yourself on a deeper level, but you can understand the world around you on a deeper level as well. So, and as we all know, the deepest part we've met ourselves is also the deepest part we're actually able to meet others, which is pretty cool. So that's why I really do want to explore Vedic astrology more, because apparently it's more dialed in, more exact, which coming from a good Western zodiac base, you know, I'm probably going to have some bias information when I first start to look into Vedic, because I know there are a lot of parallels. So I'm going to have to literally try to like erase what I've learned from Western astrology and almost like start anew, so I don't bring in any biases of, you know, energy stuff that I already know. But yeah, it's really fun. I mean, at the end of the day, you should at least definitely look into some of your past life archetypes by putting that info into AI and asking. You do need your time of birth, because, which if you don't have your birth certificate, you should go get one, because that information is pertinent to helping you map out the different past life energies. And also you can ask and discuss as well future life archetypes as well. Like some future life archetypes for me, I don't know if I've told you guys some of these or not, but one of them is for sure more of a creative endeavor from a healed place. And then that might look like two different things. Flostradamus is back, guys. 1738. But that might look like two different things. It could be from an aspect of architecture with like sacred geometry, because I have half of my life I was in real estate in this life. And then another one, which my whole entire life this has been a calling of mine, is fashion. And I have like ridiculous amounts of ideas. The thing is, guys, you might not take your material stuff with you, but you take your energetic stuff with you. So all my ideas from this lifetime that have to do with fashion will come with me to the next life. I don't know, that's just a nice thing I like to say. Flostradamus. I actually really enjoy the word Nostradamus and Flostradamus. Those are both very good words to me. They're very positive words. So you're welcome for me giving you a positive word. But yeah. Anywho, guys, it's already 11. Yeah, so the peeps that are going to be coming on Monday, do you guys want to finalize the 10 Commandments or just hop into Charlie? I'm feeling like we just hop into Charlie. Basically, the 10th commandment is, you know, not to covet thy neighbor's drip. And we were going to go into some of the scientific aspects, but we got through, like, Dolores Cannon and Dennis Prager and Kabbalah aspects. Yeah, facts. Okay, cool. Let's do that, because I think it'll be good. I have a lot of information, and then I can take the full weekend to finalize the information. And yeah, I want to do what today actually saw on Turning Point. Today was 1 month, right? So since that happened, yeah. So yeah, it's a good time to kind of revisit and yeah, essentially Charlie Kirk was part of the inspiration for the 10 Commandments as well, because he preaches about the importance of the 10 Commandments all the time. I was like, what a good time to reflect and revisit those. So, pretty cool. Oh yeah, before we go, I've got two things. We'll pray, and also thanks Ethan, I appreciate you. The thing I was telling you guys earlier, I was like, wait, should I say this on TikTok? I probably shouldn't say this if Flostradamus is in here. No, it's okay. I don't care. The thing is, guys, the noise will always be there, you know? So you just gotta learn to roll with the noise. Yeah, so the other day I was like, let me just drop into the Goodwill and find me some books. I wanted to get some more on physics, specifically quantum physics, but of course there were no quantum physics like textbooks. I was like, dang. However, I did find something else. Y'all, I die at these. These are so like, they're so up my alley, but I'm also concerned. Only slightly, only like 0.001%. So essentially, I'm looking for like quantum physics type of books because this is another energy that we're going to be exploring together. And I find like these titles, which this galaxy, right? And then this like, yeah, these are both very much so have my name written all over them. Well, so I'm looking into them, and essentially it's like science and creation, all the stuff that we always talk about in this classroom, and God and Jesus and all these things that we always talk about, good versus evil. Like it's just science with spirituality. It's got my name all over it. Well, as I'm looking into it deeper and like I was researching it online, the gentleman who put these books together, essentially they kind of consider him as like a UFO cult leader. I was like, oh shit, oh well. I'm like, dang, UFO cult leader, like that's I was like, oh dang. Y'all, I was dying. I'm like dying. I'm like, UFO cult. Like, I hadn't really even ever put those two together before. UFO cult leader. Like, a cult leader, you always think of like some weirdo that's trying to freaking put poison in Kool-Aid and then give it to the whole clan, right? That's what I think of when I think of cult leader. I don't ever put alien, UFO, and cult together, so I was like, I digress. But anyways, y'all, when it comes to knowledge, again, there are probably some things in here that might be a little twisted and sideways, but then there's always going to be things that are going to be something I probably need to learn. So, yeah, just, I've read a few cult books before. Like, a cult in general is, as you know, I've discussed this before, technically it has a really bad rap to it, because the definition of a cult is a small group of people coming together with shared beliefs. But when I think of cult, I don't think of a small group of people coming together with shared beliefs, because a church would then be a cult. When people gather to do Bible study at someone's house, that's technically a cult. C-U-L-T. Now, occult, O-C-C-U-L-T, is not bad either. It's technically just sacred knowledge where one needs to be initiated or of the frequency to be able to have that knowledge. Yeah, and technically it does have a bad rep for really good reasons, right? There's a lot of cults that have done very dark demon-like things, but anyways, yeah, this, to me, when I read that, I was like, UFO cult leader? I was like, is this real life? Like, anyways, but here's the thing too, it is sounding like that's potentially people were labeling him as that, so we'll see. Everything you have to look at with discernment through your own eyes and through connecting with your own divinity. So yeah, we'll see if it's giving cult, like bad cult, or if it's giving like, oh, small group of shared beliefs that's linked to aliens. I kind of like it. And then, yeah, I just never really put like UFO cult together. At first I was thinking these books were on Scientology, which it's kind of giving Scientology as well, because Scientology, well, it's not necessarily giving Scientology that I know of, because technically the only thing that's bad about Scientology is the manipulation. And I'm talking, it's extreme, guys. Like, these people that join Scientology, everything is confiscated. Your devices, the information that you can see and read and this and that, everything is confiscated. Yeah, I don't know how people can agree to that. Just control my life. I'm not sure how people can agree to that. That is complete manipulation to the heinous degree. That is what Scientology is. But outside of the manipulation part, I'm like, when I think of the word Scientology, to me, it should be just where religion and science meet. Like, that's what my brain does. I'm like, it should be the meeting point of spirituality and science, which is technically God. God is both halves of the brain hemisphere, left and right. Left is going to be logic and reason. Right is going to be creativity. And we all know that the right side hemisphere completely controls the left side body. The left side hemisphere controls the right side body. So this dualistic nature that we need for balance. Anyways, I digress. But yeah, so UFO cult leader, I'm like, is that true? And to what extent is that true? And also, I'm gonna find out. He's my kind of guy. I'm like, I feel like we could get along. He's for sure passed away. His name's Ernest Norman. And these are older books. Yeah. You know, these are the type of books I like are the ones where, like, you can't really get them published at regular publishers. Like, the person usually has to publish them themselves. I like those kind of books because I'm like, there's a reason why regular publishers try to control what is being published. So, keep that in mind too. What are they trying to hide? That they don't want to publish these books and that person that wrote it has to actually publish it themselves. And then for them to actually go and publish it themselves is actually quite a interesting feat because that's like time and energy and resources to do that. So they're committed to the knowledge that they have put out, to the point that they're like not going to take no for an answer from a publisher, and they're going to publish it themselves. You hear me? I digress, y'all. Anyways, yeah, let's jump on next week with our boy Charlie Kirk. I wasn't even paying attention to like what you guys are saying. I apologize. Yeah, cool. That sounds like a fundraising treat, right? I'm like, this is my type of book. UFO cult. I don't know. We're gonna find out. I've never went down this arena before. This is a new arena for me. Grant Cardone is in... Are you serious? There's no way he's in Scientology. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I just feel like he's above that. Where did you get that information? You're a caregiver for a Scientologist? No way. Where did you get that information? I need verification. I need the blue check mark. Is he like a head honcho that's basically streaming all the funds to buy? You do think really? So, you guys, the first half of my life before transitioning into Where You See Me Right Meow, I was in sales, so I always looked up to him and I thought he was really smart. Oh, snap. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, that's still through the grapevine, but then at the end of the day, too, I'm a firm believer anything is possible. It's just like, yeah. I wouldn't ever see that would be a thing. Yeah, that's baller. I mean, he's gained ultra success, but the thing is, you don't see Scientologists out in the public like that. They're so controlled. So, like, I just can't fathom a Scientologist member being out in the public like that. Like, he's out in the public, you know? He's putting out content all day. Like, you get controlled in Scientology. I just can't fathom, knowing what I know about Scientology and how they control people, I can't fathom them being okay with the amount of press that Cardone has. Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna go with it might be Cap, but that's just because I know a little bit about, yeah, they be all up in, I'm talking like your bank accounts. I'm talking they're gonna be on, like they're downloading software to your phone. Yeah, like they're in your business. You do not have privacy. You do not have privacy, guys, so that's why I'm like, how can, to what extent, like, yeah, to what extent, yeah. I hope not, because that's miserable. It doesn't math for me. It doesn't math. Okay, yeah. I'll look it up, but it's interesting. It makes you think everything is not as it seems. We're a dream, but within a dream. That's one thing we'll have to do a class on too, or like discuss more, is the whole time space construct of reality. Life is bizarre, y'all. Life is freaking bizarre. Like, yeah. Life is really bizarre. We're just aliens too. Like, we're technically all aliens. Like, this UFO cult, like, we're all aliens too. We're literally aliens. Now I sound like a UFO cult leader. Like, y'all, we're aliens. This book, I haven't even read anything but the title, and now it's already starting to affect me. But, yeah. This one's called Infinite Perspectus. I'm like, yeah, Infinite Perspectus, absolutely need to read. This one's called The Infinite Concept of Cosmic Creation. Y'all already know this has my name written all over it. And she thicky with 2 C's. Like, she thick. Anyways. Am I now a part of Scientology? I know. Okay, yeah, so I should probably pray and then we'll close out, y'all. We're getting crazy on a Friday. It's crazy. Yeah. I'm feeling like these books, the book energy here is influencing me. The funny thing about these chats that we've been having is I'm like not editing these. I'm just popping these up onto YouTube. So I hope I don't say anything out of line that like gets me in trouble in the future, you know? Or like say something about someone else that gets me in trouble in the future. I try to like monitor myself, but yeah. So let's pray. Yeah. Is there anything that y'all want me to pray for? Specifically? Or just do my usual thing? Do my ain't nothing but chicken wing thing? The usual stuff? Let it flow. Facts, bro. Facts. I like that. That's what we do out here with that quantum flow. Okay. The other day I was imagining having like, when I have more of an audience and I pray, I'm like, am I gonna like trip up on my words? Like, could you imagine if I had like 10K people or something? Like, okay, y'all, let's pray. That'd be so baller. technically, when it comes to prayer and when it comes to meditation, because as we all know, we are all super connected. When we come together and do these things, it's like tenfold. Yeah, it's like tenfold for the amount of positive effects it can have. Which leads me to, I'm going to probably eventually be obliged to do some type of guided meditation collectively when we get a little bit more sustenance with more souls. Not that you guys aren't sustenance enough, but the energy of collected, shared minds coming together is like a crazy tenfold type of ripple effect of goodness and abundance and this and that. So, and that's again why, too, a lot of people go and pray together at churches and stuff, because there's absolute reason for putting minds together for that type of stuff. It will come about in the 3D much faster, because that is the power of our minds. Now, let me go ahead and just settle into this energy here collectively. My chakras in alignment. Okay, bow your heads, please. Submit to Rome, the Vatican. I absolutely love the Vatican, and I would like to go there. Now, yeah, I mean, it is a cornerstone of my past lives, potentially, so it brought me to who I am today, you know? Can't give it that much extreme. But, okay, let's focus in, y'all. I don't know why I'm like so antsy. I apologize. I just need to like calm the lights down a little bit. I got my crystal. Let's go. Okay. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Quantum All, the One, the All. Thank you so much. We come before you now with hearts of gratitude for the ability to come together on shared consciousness of elevating to higher states, not only in this life, but also in the subsequent lives as well. Thank you for all the lessons that we have been able to turn into blessings. Thank you for the ability to learn and grow and have quantum insights and downloads that we can anchor into our 3D to not only help us, but also we. I'm out here poeting, guys. I'm a poet. Divine Creator, thank you for the ability to be creatively involved in this reality. We appreciate it all. Thank you. I also pray that we'll be able to expand our vessels to be able to hold more divine light as we are creatively anchoring in more miracles into our reality. Thank you as well for all the divine knowledge, not only in the 3D and 4D printed, but the divine knowledge that we can tap into at any time, so we should choose through the quantum field. I pray for all the souls in this screen, energetically, and all the souls that are not here, that are not seen, that you will protect them, divinely protect them, and additionally, that you will grow their abundance tenfold by transforming their vessels and letting them focus on what they need to focus on to bring about that abundance. Opening their eyes to that which they need to in order to anchor that abundance. Yes. In Jesus' name, amen. is pagan. Amen. I mean, you could say everyone's pagan then if what you celebrate is what you believe in, because we're on Halloween time of year. So technically, maybe everyone's pagan. Everything is intention, the good, bad, and the ugly. Everything starts from thought and from intention. What are those lights? That's so dope. Thank you. Christmas lights, let's go. Aw, Ethan, that's so kind. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. You're so kind. Yeah, I mean, collective consciousness is the all, its source as well. I don't know what you're saying, but there has to be, to have anything physical in the 3D, it had to be intended to be there first. So maybe you should go to my YouTube page and study some of the information I've put out, because you're a little far behind. Appreciate the flowers. Thank you so much. That's so kind. Yeah, cool. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you for being here. We really were lit tonight with being on here for so long. And then Kingsley as well. You're like, it's like 2 or whatever, 2:30 or so. We lit, fam. We stay lit. Appreciate y'all. Why does there always have to be an argument for what is true? What is true is what's true. We don't need to argue the truth. The truth just is. Just as... Yeah, exactly. It's like 2:30. That's wild. Anywho, appreciate y'all. That's question begging. I'm not sure what you're saying, Flostradamus. You're lacking substance, bud. But if you want more substance, you could go to my YouTube page and ingest some of that, and then share with your friends. Thank you, that's so sweet. Share with your friends, too. Appreciate it. Yeah. Cool, guys. Happy Friday. Appreciate you. My fam bam. We got like 8 people on as I'm trying to I feel bad, but y'all, for anyone who's just joining as we're ending the live, feel free to join Monday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be talking about all things Charlie Kirk, and then later in the week we'll get into all things quantum being. Yes, it'll be very exciting things. Appreciate you guys. Have a fantastic weekend. Ethan, I can always count on you. You're the first in, last out. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a fantastic weekend. And I'll put this stuff up on my YouTube as well. And hopefully not get in trouble for whatever we've discussed. Appreciate y'all.